The Ash, Lutzi and Susie O'Neill podcast.
Darren Lockyer is joining us on the show.
Oh. Sorry, Lockyer.
Right now,
I figured a man of your stature, Lockyer, would have a big song or something. Normally in FM radio, they hit to a song or there'd be some type of bells and whistles.
We would have at one point.
Yeah.
Had a song for it.
I can only really sing Joe Cocker songs. So.
Go on.
Oh, yeah.
How are we, team?
Good, mate. How are you going?
Yeah, good. I'm still in Brisbane. I'm heading down at lunch.
Yeah, I was going to say, you're down here yet? Actually, you're not. We just did. If you check my Instagram or the Ash, Lutzi and Susie O'Neill Instagram, Ash just did a weather forecast out on the balcony here for what he sees as the future for Sydney. It looks a bit grey though, Lockyer. I don't know. It looked a bit slippery last night too. We went to the captain's run. It looked that usual murky darkness that the Olympic Stadium gives you out there.
Yeah, well, if rain or not, that stadium in winter is always a bit greasy, so the conditions will be slippery.
Yeah. Okay, so how's that impact? I mean, obviously, Billy would be aware of that. I did notice, actually, last night, the captain's run again, the coach, Billy Slater, was wearing footy boots. He went out there when the players were warming up. He grabbed a footy. He put a couple of kicks. He could see he was going to get a feel for what the ground was like as well. So I guess that's a good thing. He'll have that under control.
Well, some players don't sort of do their due diligence on what shoes they should wear. Like, I think Billy always wore long studs no matter where he played. Now, not every player does that, but it's pretty crucial you get the right footwear, because if if the ball gets turned under and you just can't change direction quick enough because you slip, it might be the difference between winning and losing. So I think Billy, as we know, has got attention to detail. He'd be making sure his players are comfortable and confident in the footwear they're wearing tonight.
Just to stay on Billy for a second, because it's in the papers today, and it is one of the really interesting things in terms of our selection. And, I'm sure most Queenslanders are like me, full confidence in Billy. I love that statement that he said about no one's watched more football of Queensland players than me this year, the confidence that he said it with. He's obviously got a plan for Selwyn Cobbo. He's there if there's obviously going to be an issue for one of our outside backs, as there has been in, I understand, 5 of our last 6 Origin games. But outside of that, if there's no injury, how do you think that Selwyn will be utilised tonight?
Well, I think they'd get him around the footy, so get him involved. I don't think he'll defend in the middle, though. I think that's just, going from wing to centre and then defending in the middle for an Origin game. That'd take a lot of energy out of him, and he'd blunt his attacking threat. So I think that they'll find a role for him, in the middle of the field, like a roving fullback. But defensively, I think there'll have to be a shuffle. Where he goes, I don't exactly know. But he'll be comfortable out wide. But the closer he gets to the middle, I think he'll struggle.
Looks like the betting's pretty close. Darren, do you think it'll be a close game, high-scoring game, low-scoring game? How do you see it playing out tonight?
Yeah, I think it'll be low-scoring, Suze. I just feel like they've picked a team that's based on work ethic and character, and so defensively they'll just keep turning up. So I don't think we'll have a lot of opportunities tonight. And equally, I think for us that's always been our DNA, is just hanging in for each other defensively. So I think it's it'll be a real arm wrestle for 80 minutes, and there might be only 1 or 2 opportunities that both teams get from an attacking perspective, and they need to ice those moments. And guys like Reece Walsh might be the key to that. Same for the Blues, it might be Tedesco.
Yeah, we mentioned earlier in the show too, Daly Cherry Evans. We had a good chat with him last night. He came over and had a chat to us all after the captain's run, saying that the week's been great. The team looks great. There's a really good sense of Maroon, I guess, and being part of that the great squad that being part of the Queensland Maroons is. But it means nothing unless they can get across the line tonight. I mean, from your experience, are those great camps related to great results, or is it a bit of a hit and miss as to how you feel during the week and the actual outcome on the Wednesday night?
I always think that the result of the previous game has a big impact on this game. Like, I know that's 12 months ago, but Queensland won the last 2 series. The Blues have been criticised a fair bit. Freddie was moved on, and then there's a new coach, new direction. So I think they've got a lot to prove, the Blues, whereas Queensland, they need to know that they're going to be facing a desperate team. So, from the perspective of getting a good preparation and converting that onto the field, it helps, but, there's a lot more to play for than, just knowing you've got a good preparation. So it's an intriguing battle. I think the biggest advantage we've got at the moment is probably that man you talked about with Daly over Nico Hines, who's really playing his first Origin game at halfback. He only really got, 15, 20 minutes in the series last year. So it's a big step up for him.
Well, just to talk quickly about first Origin games, Jermaine Hopgood, he's making his debut tonight. It's a huge moment for everyone up in Hervey Bay. We had his mum on the show yesterday. You played 36 Origin games. Let's go back to your first one. What are your memories of the first time that you represented Queensland, and what advice would you give to Jermaine tonight?
Oh, look, it's, I guess it's what, as a kid, that's all you dreamt about, playing for Queensland. And, I grew up in that era watching Wally and Elf. And, so to get the jersey, and then it's your time, your opportunity. You realise the dream, but then you've got a responsibility. And, he's a good kid. He's got a great work ethic. So, I'm pretty confident he's going to go out there and do the best for himself, his family, and his state. So it's exciting times for him. But I think just be yourself, Jermaine, and every second counts out there and make the most of it. Well, my first Origin game was in '98, and we had Alf was the captain. So our first couple of nights in camp was pretty fun. But that was the game that Tony Carroll scored in the last minute after Kevy kicked it. We regathered. Tony Carroll scored, and I had to convert. It was only sort of 5-10 metres to the right of the upright, and in those days I was kicking off stand. So my debut was memorable, but it could have easily been a horror show if I had missed that kick. So that was a good moment.
I was chatting to Alfie last night, Darren, and I was asking him to compare the camps to previous, when he was a backup player, because he's now the social rep, whatever you call him on one of his roles is.
People and culture, Suze, is his official title.
And it sounds like it's a lot more controlled. He said there's only one night out, one big night, and it's in-house. They don't, but he said they love it. They love the tradition of the one, good bonding night.
They keep that too.
Yeah, which is fun. So it's good he's still involved with the team, I reckon.
Oh, look, I think, you've been involved in elite sport. You still got to have your moments of getting away from the intensity and the focus. You've got to break away and have a bit of fun. And, Elf's obviously been very good at that, but, Elf was the ultimate competitor on game day too. So, back in the mid-90s, the first 2 or 3 days, I think you go back to the 80s and it was pretty much the whole camp. So it's slowly becoming a thing of the past, but you're still having a beer with your mates and just having a chat for a few hours and having a bit of fun, it's good for team morale.
And for those that aren't at the game, we're watching at home on 9 and 9 now. You'll find the flag for us as usual, the Queensland flag, in that commentary, because that can drive people mad in their lounge rooms when they get control.
Don't take any of their shit.
It's just as important, Lockyer, as what happens on the field.
Yeah, well, there's exactly, mate. Well, Cam and Joey up in the box. I'm going to be sitting next to Freddie on the sideline, so
nice.
And Gal won't be far away. So let's just hope there's a few.
Do what you do.
A few long faces in New South Wales after the game.
All right, well, get down here safely, mate. We might even see you out there tonight. If not, you catch Lockyer and all the crew on Channel 9. Go Queensland. Thanks, mate.
Good on you, mate.
Thanks, guys. Enjoy the night.
The Ash, Lutzi and Susie O'Neill podcast.